Okay, so now we're going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals. So let's go over the steps first, and then we'll walk you through one using the steps. So the first step is to line up the decimal places. So we want to line up the decimal places. So line up decimal places. After we line those up, we want to fill in zeros. So place zeros so the numbers are the same length. Okay, so we want to place zeros in. So we want to fill in zeros, and then we simply add or subtract. Okay, so looking at example 1 here, we want to line up our decimal places. So what that means is I'm going to write the first one down, 4.57. So I want my decimal places in the same spot. So I have my decimal places lined up. Okay, that's what I want. My decimal places lined up. I don't want it to look like, and I don't want it like this, because then it's really hard to tell what exactly I'm adding. So that is a no-go. We want our decimal places lined up. We want to fill in zeros, right? So you may notice there's a blank spot here. So we can just fill in a zero there. So that way every row has the same exact amount. Okay? And now we just add or subtract. In this case, we're adding. So 7 plus 0 is 7. 5 plus 2 is 7. Our decimal place gets brought down. 4 plus 6 is 10. So now our answer is simply 10.77. Okay? So we fill it in and place 0. So let's do one more. So we're going to line them up. I always start with whatever's on top. So 3.32. Align your decimals. Fill in zeros if you need to. We're adding. Okay, 1, 7, 10. Don't forget that you throw those up. We bring our decimal place all the way down. And now here's our answer. Okay. So I want you to do example 3 and 4. So work on example 3 and example 4. Make sure you show your work just like I did. Okay. And pause and get checked. Okay, so hopefully you got 6.36 and 4.113. So let's look at example 5. It's a little trickier because we have a negative number plus a positive number. So what that really means is instead of adding, we're really subtracting the numbers. So I'm going to put the positive number first, 8.5, and then we're really subtracting 1.23. Don't forget, align your zeros, and now simply subtract. We have to borrow. This becomes 10 to 7. So now here we are, 7.27. So if you have a negative number plus a positive number, you really subtract them. And then over here, thinking back to the basics, we're subtracting a negative number. So looking at example 6, we're subtracting a negative. What we really do, remember, is keep, change, change. So keep, change this to a plus, change this to a plus. So keep, change, change. Now we're really just adding. We're really just adding 5.9 plus 1.134. 0 placeholders. There you go. 7.034. So I want you to try example 7. Okay, so take a moment and try example 7, pause and check. Okay, so hopefully you know what the word difference means. It means to subtract. So originally I subtracted by my negative number. So when I subtract, you always start with the bigger number. Okay, but when you subtract by a negative, remember, keep, change, change. Keep, change, change. So you're really adding now. So now we're really adding, which is why we got a 6.2 degrees Celsius change. Okay, so looking at example 8, you're going to have to do this a couple of different times. And there's some keywords here. So I want you to read this, try to pick out some keywords, and then I'll highlight them when you unpack. Okay, so some keywords here is that she starts with a balance. So balance is what she starts with. Deposit means to add money in. Writes a check is subtracting. Okay, so this is subtracting because she's paying for something. And withdrawing also means to subtract. Okay, so deposit, we're adding. Writing a check, we're subtracting. Same thing with withdrawing. Okay, so I want you to figure out what her checking account balance is now. So you're going to have to do this a whole bunch as an adult. So you may have your calculators there, or you may be like my grandma. She always does all of this math to balance her checkbook, and then she has one of us double check it just to make sure she's not off because she's old and doesn't like to use a calculator. So try this on your own. I'm just going to give you the answer at the end, okay? So make sure you have all the work here. Okay, so her balance now should be $263.08. So you have to make sure that this is what you're writing. I don't want to just see the math. I want to see some sort of little blurb about what that answer means. Okay?